Today's Thursday, May 7th, 2026. This is the regular meeting of the Cupertino Parks and Recreation Commission. This is a hybrid meeting, and the meeting is being recorded. For members of the public wishing to address the Park and Recreation Commission on Zoom, the Zoom application will notify you that this meeting is being recorded. And please make sure that you press the continue button so that you will be staying in the meeting. Use the raise hand feature in Zoom when you would like to speak on an item, and also lower your hand when you're done. Please unmute when called to speak and mute yourself when you're done speaking. If you're calling in by phone, please identify yourself by name before speaking on any item. And press *9 on your phone to raise and lower your hand. Press *6 if you are participating by phone to unmute. And each speakers are limited to 3 minutes. I'm going to call to the order of the meeting. So welcome to the May 7th, 2026 Cupertino Park and Recreation Commission meeting. And I now call the meeting to order at 7:02. Roll call, staff. Can you please stand up? Here.
Commissioner Stanek?
Here.
Commissioner Swamy?
Yeah.
Vice Chair Srikan? Chair Kumarapam?
Here.
For the record, Vice Chair Srikan is absent.
Thank you. Now moving on to the first item of the business, which is approval of the minutes. Item 1, subject April 2nd, 2026 Park and Recreation Commission meeting minutes. And the recommended action in front of us is to review and approve the April 2nd, 2026 Park and Recreation Commission meeting minutes. And I'm sure that everybody looked at the draft minutes.
Yes, and through the chair, I'd like to move and approve the April 2nd.
Before that, so any clarifying questions or amendments to the minutes?
Sorry?
Any clarifying questions or amendments to the minutes? But there is looks like this, I learned this one, so I'll now open for a public comment on this item. Start, do we have any speaker thoughts or hands raised on this?
We have no speakers, Chair.
Thank you. Seeing no speakers, I'll now close the public comment and invite a motion on the meeting minutes approval.
We asked the motion to approve the April 2nd, 2026 Parks and Rec Commission meeting minutes.
I second it.
Great. So Commissioner Bono, I think you made a notes on that one, right? I don't have to repeat that. Thank you. So now the particular item has been approved and we'll move on. What is it? Oh, sorry. That's what I said. I missed one line and there it is. Okay, staff, please call for the vote.
Commissioner Bono?
Aye.
Commissioner Stanek?
Yes.
Commissioner Swamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Srikan is absent. Chair Kumarapam?
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Now I think I have to move on to the next slide. Postponements. And I think this is the time I really wanted to make a motion. And before that, I'll give you the context. There are a lot of guests here to present, which is part of the new business item. And since some of the staffs are in East Coast time zone or different time zones, so there was a request to really move that item to be the first one. The new business, whatever we have, that should be moved to the first one. And so I like to make a motion to move the new business item, what we have, which I'll read it out. The presentation is the proposed public open space conceptual design for the Rice Development Project, formerly Barco Town Center. I'd like to move that before the old business so that we can get that done first. Given that there are participants, then folks on the call from East Coast, just to respect.
I'll second
They
that.
don't want.
And just if I can clarify one thing, please, what we would need to do for this evening is if you have a motion on the table, but the motion would be for after oral communications.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
we would just for
Yeah, and just
aware, so we would do
the new business first and old business, that's only swap, but until then, things will continue, like oral communication, we will have it. And then we'll.
oral communications, and then we would go into new business. We would do old business last.
Right.
So we'll do it last.
Correct.
Yes.
Old business.
That's what I heard the motion to be. So
Yes. So before the second motion, I think there is a clarification question for the commissioner. Please.
Yeah,
go
so
ahead.
is this item 3 on the agenda that's under old business?
Number 2, why are we doing it last?
Number 3.
No, item 3.
Item.
But
And the
it's
new
listed
business.
under old business on my agenda that I'm looking
The
at.
old business is a seniors, services subcommittee.
Maybe,
This is,
Old business.
this is new business.
Oh, new business is way down there. I didn't see it. I apologize.
Oh, no,
Sorry, I think there is another question on it. So the reason why we wanted to move that before the whole business is that people who are presenting it, few folks are here and then some other folks are from East Coast dialing in on the call.
Oh.
So just to respect that, and they're already starting at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock now.
Okay.
So we want to respect
Sure.
them to go forward.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Probably.
Yeah. So I did a motion and seconded
I
by.
guess, second, yeah.
Seconded by Commissioner Corner. And do we have to go for a vote on this
Me
too?
too.
Yes.
Yes, please, staff.
Commissioner Bono?
Aye.
Commissioner Stanek?
Yes.
Commissioner Swamy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Shrikant is absent. Chair Kumarapan?
Yes,
Motion carries unanimously.
thank you. So now we'll go on the oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the commission and not on the agenda. I just want to make it clear. And the speakers are limited to 3 minutes. In most cases, state law will prohibit the commission from making any decisions with respect to a matter not on the agenda. The commission or the staff may briefly respond to statements made or questions posed, and the commission may request staff to report back at a subsequent meeting. As a reminder, comments can also be emailed at the same time to Park and Recreation Commission, all one word, at cupertino.gov. If any member of the public would like to make comments, please fill out a speaker card or raise your hand on Zoom. With that, staff, do we have any folks?
We have one speaker in person, Susan Bloomfield.
Excellent.
Okay. Good evening. I'm Susan Bloomfield, and I'm a 35-year resident, taxpayer, voter of Cupertino. I'm here to speak about the pickleball trial that is due to start on July 7th. I don't know when or if the commission had notice of the trial or the trial starting the 7th, and whether or not you were aware of the restriction of hours and days of play, as well as the request for quiet paddles at all times. We just heard about it, and the reason that I'm here is to request your recommendation that the trial not go forward, because it seems that there are other methods that would be better for the neighbors to attenuate the noise, like sound barriers, which need to be looked at before any kind of trial, because the trial itself would not really do much to directly solve the issue. The issue is to make less noise. And by changing the playing time, you're actually, if you restrict the hours and you have the same number of people who want to play, they're going to squish themselves into that time. And there could actually be more problem because of that. And for some reason, they picked Mondays to totally say no pickleball on Mondays. I don't see that that makes a great deal of sense. One would assume that a weekday, most people during those hours are maybe at work anyway, but it doesn't seem a good solution. Now, why does this matter? For the first time in 35 years, there is so much community. Most of the 35 years that my husband and I lived here, it's just where we lived. We didn't use the park. We didn't do much of anything in the community. Then Cupertino painted lines on one of the tennis courts, but no nets. My husband and I would bring our own nets, and we were pretty much the only people there. And then Cupertino bought 4 nets, and all of a sudden, a huge community of friendship and just general good thoughts happened, and it's been going on now. It's a friendship between folks that are of all ages, all ethnicities, diverse backgrounds, people I never thought I would become friendly with, because where would I have even met them? And now we socialize at the court, we socialize off the court. And it's just brought so many families and friends together. And it brings people to Cupertino too, to shop, to eat in restaurants, to add to the economy. And I know this because we have a lot of lunches, group lunches and happy hours, and most of them take place in Cupertino, even if people don't live there. So what we want is to work together with the city to help the neighbors.
That is your time.
I talked longer than I thought.
Thank you for your comment.
Through the chair, I'd like to make a comment.
Yeah.
Do me if I do, do me if I don't, but let's bring back pickleball. It remains a big issue in Cupertino. We need to have an answer as far as are we going to have any types of sound barrier installed? Are we moving forward with any types of prototypes that eliminates noise, et cetera, and on a personal basis, FYI. Monday is a bad day because everyone is unhappy to go to work. That's why we're here on Thursday and the
Yeah.
next is
Yeah, so
day off.
thank you.
Anyway.
Thanks for the comment and we will,
Actually, I want to make a clarifying comment.
so I think,
Just for that.
so,
We're in the slippery slope right now because of the non-agendized items. So for the commission to have discussion on this, we really need.
I wasn't the
Okay,
There was
I want to make sure that we
Correct.
maintain the Brown Act.
Agreed.
I know, Director Mosley, you have something to add, and then, we can circle back onto the.
May I add just a clarifying comment, because there seems to be a little bit of confusion as to what the Parks and Recreation Commission has recommended. In fact, we did not recommend not having pickleball on Monday. We did not recommend restricting
So,
times. to-
Understood.
This is getting.
Yeah, so I think,
I
thank you.
just want to make sure that
Yeah.
the truth is out there, that the miscommunication.
Commissioner Swami.
Sure, yeah, so, thank you. I think the comments are good. I think as I originally read, looks
Yeah.
like we cannot go deep into any of the comments made, but you said that,
Just briefly, we will be talking about pickleball and sound attenuation with the CIP, which is coming later.
correct, that's what I was about to, thank you. So some other portions will be touching on the agenda and the seat. Thank you. Is there any other folks on the Zoom?
We have no speakers in person and no hands raised on Zoom chair.
Awesome. If that is the case, let me close the oral communication portion of it. And then let's move on to the item number 3, even though we are supposed to have old business, we already just passed a motion to move the new business. This is item number 3. The subject is the presentation on the proposed public open space conceptual design for the Rice Development Project, formerly known as Welco Town Center. And the recommended action for all of us is to receive the presentation and provide input on the proposed public open space conceptual design, Rice Development Project. I think we have it, staff. I think we have those reports, everything good to go, right?
We do.
Awesome, please.
Take it from here. Good evening, Chad Mosley, Director of Public Works. Tonight, we're presenting the conceptual designs, publicly accessible open spaces within the approved Rise Development Project at former Valpo Mall sites. Olin Landscape Architects, who's here tonight, has prepared conceptual designs for each of these open space areas. And in developing the concept, staff worked closely with Olin and encouraged the incorporation of elements and guiding principles from the Parks and Rec Master Plan. We believe those considerations are reflected in the designs being presented this evening. And while the city does not have the authority to require specific design elements due to the statutory limitations associated with the approved project entitlements, staff felt it was important for the Parks and Rec Commission to have an opportunity to review and comment on the proposed concepts. As a courtesy, the design team has agreed to present their work to the commission tonight. Staff will compile and share your feedback with the design team, who's also here, but and they'll be considering incorporating your input where feasible into those designs. Again, given the important role of these spaces, that these spaces will play as community gathering areas, staff has requested this opportunity to review the concepts and to offer the commission the ability to provide input early in the design process prior to finalization of the construction drawings. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over to Skip Graffam from Olin to provide the presentation.
And I'm sorry,
But before Skip gets going with this presentation, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Lee Molds. I'm with Sand Hill Property Company, the developer of Rise. We're very happy to present to you our vision for our parkland and open space master plan. We're very happy to hear your input and your comments and feedback on our vision. And we've always viewed the city as our partner. And we're very eager. We know this is a long-term effort. Yes, with this meeting, we're in our 12th year of community outreach, but at the same time, we know that's a long road ahead and there's a lot to be done. And we're very grateful to the relationship that we have with the city at all levels, including this commission and staff, to be able to have gotten to this point and eager for the adventure that remains ahead. I want you to know that this vision reflects years of community input. And we're very proud of what it has come to represent, both for a project such as the Rise, but also for a community such as Cupertino. And parkland and open space has always been a top priority of Sand Hill Property Company in our development work. We view it as having equal standing to the uses of the project. It's right there next to housing, right next to retail. Parkland is a big to us. This is why it was very important to us to select a world-class landscape architect such as Olin. We were inspired by Olin's work at Apple Park, where I believe they've approached landscape architecture as design meant to be used as opposed to just meant to be looked at. It's my great pleasure to be able to turn this over to him now. He's dedicated the better part of the last decade on this plan, on this vision. And so I'm happy that we've gotten to this point. I'm about to let Skip run the rest of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it. Wow, my head is a little heavier now. Great introduction, thank you. First, thank you to the commission for bumping us up in the agenda. I do have two colleagues online, Takashi Sato and Hong Liu, who are, it's 10:15 and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I will go through this fairly quickly. We obviously can talk afterwards with questions and so forth, but this is an overview and it's been a pleasure to work with staff to kind of refine this and taking their comments into account. I have a bit of a delay, so I will have to get used to there we go. Okay. I just want to start with this image, just kind of harkening back to what Reed mentioned. Where we were, 11, 12 years ago was this project. And I think with all the input that we've received, it's going to make an exceptional series of public spaces that we want to have activate the community, both the residents and shoppers and workers that are there, but also the entire city. This was a destination back in the day. We hope it's a destination for being outside in this case. So we also, working with staff, wanted to kind of situate this in the context of the general plan as well as the Parks and Rec master plan. And so the idea is, I'm not going to read through every one of these, but many of the guiding principles we followed were ones from the general plan and the Parks and Rec plan in terms of being, safe and accessible and walkable, really creating a diverse series of spaces and allowing them to be flexibly used by both, the residents and the city and so forth. We're really focusing on sustainable design and the climate change and really also making this, a self-contained and operations and maintenance and so forth. So all the aspirations that are in the general plan as far as kind of how the city sees these elements. This is what we're calling the Mod 3 plan, which is the name of basically the latest plan. This shows the full build out and this shows not only the open spaces, but also the streetscape. I think one of the things I'm really excited about is kind of the robust streetscape, which we have a chance to design from scratch with the proper soil volumes, proper spacing and so forth. So we're talking about the open space tonight, but really it's the whole piece. And so the streetscape is going to be where, everyone's interacting and so forth. So I just want to make sure we saw the overall image. Again, looking back at, some of the elements from the general plan and how we looked at our vision to create this multitude of scales, having the two sides, the east and west side, really anchored with the significant public space, and then a series of smaller spaces around that interact with the residential buildings and retail shops and so forth. It's all framed with a class 1 bike lane, which provides a really interesting way of getting around the entire district. And working with ways to, engage children at a variety of scales, both an actual playground, but also just nature and being in an urban environment, urban garden environment. So this is the overall kind of 3D kind of massing view of it. And you can see that our spaces obviously we're going to talk about tonight are on the ground, a series of spaces that run through the entire development. These, just wanted to mention, these are also kind of upper level outdoor, they're private open spaces. So in addition to all the ground plane spaces for the public, the residents also have access to these. So there's a significant amount of open space, and all of this contributes in a way ecologically. So while the ground spaces are really for public access, the collective, plantings and so forth really do create those small ecological patches and kind of really improve that overall kind of sustainability and resilience of this area. Okay, there we go. So this is kind of the plan view of the spaces we're going to talk about. There's 8 public open spaces, and then there's the class 1 bike trail. So you can see they're scattered throughout the development. This is Valco Parkway, Wolf Road, Stevens Creek, and you can see they thread their way through the both sides, east and west, and they offer a variety of scales and orientations. So one of the things we know from our other park work is parks generally work as a system in some ways when they're within walking distance of each other. And that's really nice because depending on the microclimate or depending on the event, you can move things around and really have a larger system that can take one space doesn't have to take the load of everything. And also people can find their way around and find what they want when they're outside, quiet, active, whatever. Having these smaller spaces are actually more useful than say one giant space. So it's actually in an urban environment. It's very attractive and you can use it differently each day, depending on where you want to be. This kind of shows some of the contiguous walking through these green spaces. They do link the west side and parts of the east. We have a series of kind of inner, loops of varying, pedestrian walking distances, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, and people will make their own up, of course. But there's just a lot of ways to see, your way through this and also engage with that bike trail and pedestrian walking trail on the exterior. And then looking at so in addition to those that are living there and working there, this is also meant to be a destination. And so this is just a quick note of looking at all the different ways to access the orange arrows or vehicular entries, which they can park in the publicly accessible garages. Obviously they can enter on the bike trail. There's also those yellow stops are all bus stops. So it's meant to be very accessible and distributed accessibility throughout the park system. Also, one of the goals, for the Parks Master Plan was the idea of making things accessible. You can see the compactness of this means we have a lot in a very small, walking distance. So from that corner of Wolf and Valco Parkway, it's about a 4-minute walk, 4-minute direct walk, probably more like 5 or 6 minutes, winding your way through the grid. But even from one end to the other, you can get to 8 different parks in about 15 minutes, which is it's a really interesting urban environment, I think. And just one thing to note too, the collective area of these is about 7.94 acres, about 7.9 acres. But looking at the small parks in the Parks and Rec Master Plan, you have the category of small parks, those under 3. You're at about 6.8 acres right now. So this one system is going to really dramatically increase the small parks in the city in this one area. So looking at the programming and the way those small parks are used, we think we have a lot of similarities in here in the way that it can be, again, they're play space, just quiet sitting and so forth, with some larger kind of community event spaces as well. So but I think the significance of this type of park and this amount of it is an interesting increase in the Parks and Rec kind of master plan. Okay, so again, conscious of time, I don't want to spend too long on this, but just going back and reorienting that we did look at the 7 kind of goals of the Parks and Rec master plan to see how each of these spaces can contribute to those goals overall. We looked at each one, and so I'm just going to go through all 8 quickly, so you can kind of see and we can talk about them in more detail if you want. Starting on the south, so we're oriented, plan north is to the left. So starting with the urban paseo, which is really the pedestrian gateway to the south off Stevens Creek, and this is really a completely pedestrian focused space that interacts with retail. So There's really kind of two zones on the edges which extend the retail out, so restaurants, seating and so forth. And then there's a central zone that's really more for the public, which is really pedestrian focused and has outdoor seating. It may have a kind of a small plaza that's a splash pad and so forth. But the idea that all of this contributes to an active kind of pedestrian life that may or may not be engaging with the retail. It obviously augments the retail experience, but it doesn't have to be only about retail. So this central gateway is kind of an iconic welcome into the space. These are just some kind of images of, evocative images of what might go there. You see it's focused on seating in the center. So unlike on the streets, this is, you are the center in this space. So it's a different kind of read, all pedestrian focused and some really unique placemaking that I think can occur in this very dense kind of tight environment. And this is an older rendering we did, which just kind of shows the scale. You can see the retail zones and then the center that's more open, and it's really about having people occupy it in a number of ways, how they wish to use it. Okay, we're kind of moving to the north. Right connected to that is Town Square West, which is kind of our largest space on the west side. It's almost 9/10 of an acre. This is meant to be our kind of community gathering space, civic space. It's focused around an event plaza, which is hardscape to have it be maximum flexibility. If you're looking at that event space alone, it's roughly about the size of the Cupertino Main Street between the two pavilions and the grass plus the walkways on the outside. So it's roughly about 7,500 square feet. So it's big enough for movie night, a small ice rink, vendor stalls, food trucks, whatever. It's meant to be able to handle that. You could put tenting anchors and so forth in there. But it's surrounded by green. So the idea of prospecting the refuge where you're looking out from a kind of a space you want to sit to see the activity in the center. There's a kiosk that could, retail kiosk that might come here that could be a kind of an anchor for food or coffee. There's a lawn here that could extend the event space this way. This is more seating inside, kind of a planting area. And it's really meant to be a curvilinear kind of antithesis to the very rigid geometries we're seeing elsewhere. So the idea is more of a biophilic kind of disconnect from the kind of an urban grid. And looking at, this is a really kind of basic 3D idea, but you can face any direction with that urban park, with that central urban space. So the idea is you could flow up into that lawn, you could have a seating edge here, you could extend something out from the retail kiosk. And this is block 4 is gonna have some outside dining and so forth. So really well looked at, kind of lush park, but with the center that's open and flexible. Again, some of the ideas of some of the programming, event programming that could happen. This shows you a 250 seat, movie night, plenty of room. And the idea is a space like this, we want to have an event that can go on, but it doesn't like wipe out the ability for people to move around and enjoy the edges. So it's not like all or nothing, which sometimes we see like at Bryant Park where everything takes over and no one else can use the space. So trying to avoid something like that. Again, some of the ideas of it's flexible, both lawn and paving, very seasonal, but at the heart of it, you're always going to be able to go out and sit in planting and in a garden around the edges. So you have that mix of things. And again, at different times of day and seasons, it will be, could be really wonderful. So this is just an idea of the openness of the plaza with the surrounding kind of green space and the residential building north. Okay, just moving north of this is the urban garden that's connected to block 5. This is really more of almost like a linear park, if you will. It's an interesting one because there's sidewalk here, like you would in the normal block, but you also have like a secondary circulation area. So this becomes like a promenade with space to sit off, seating on, wood decks and with seat walls and, a flexible lawn to sit on. So what it does is it allows there's 3 retail spaces here in block 5, which can come out and have their own kind of area that's dedicated for them for like restaurant tables or something. And then there is room here to set up market stalls and so forth for a public event with this green space kind of backing it up. So the retail is covered, but this is all kind of open space that can be used for events and things like that. It's meant to be really where you're kind of be seen here walking on this promenade. And the interesting thing about the Paseo and the Town Square West and this is depending on how we want to judiciously maybe close the street, you could flow back and forth across this section of the street and still have circulation out, of cars elsewhere. Similar you could have. So you could actually connect these in interesting ways and expand the space to a larger one. again, just some kind of ideas of what might go there, flexible, movable chairs and so forth. The next space up is the turf playfield. This is one, that, the goal was to have some sort of kind of like just informal recreation area. This is just over a half an acre. It's really, again, it's just essentially a contiguous lawn panel with some plantings and the ability to sit around. It's just really a town green, if you will. It's meant to be very, kind of usable from all groups, but it's more of, thinking of it more as the flexibility of what you would have with a lawn where you could use it for picnicking, you could use it for an event, you could do it for informal recreation. But it's just there as also as visual green as you're walking through, and it makes that connection between the Block 5 kind of urban park and some of the others leading up to the bike trail. The last one in this sequence are what we're calling the culture gardens. These are, placeholder names. It's not anything specific. But the idea, these are kind of mid-block linear spaces. And they are almost like the northern gateway that you would come down from the bike trail. So you have kind of at each end, you have these gateway elements that are all pedestrian only. So this central path has essentially small plazas at each end. It's really a series of seating rooms and things along this curvilinear path. We're calling it culture garden because this could reflect kind of agricultural history, cultural history. There could be a series of, displays and things along it. It could be any number of kind of passive event elements, but the main thing is it's just a really lush, beautiful garden walk that leads you in from the bike trail. And again, could have even, this is right near residential, so it could even have almost like work from home spaces outside or small seating areas. This is also a place where we can really demonstrate, I think, on-site stormwater management because we have such a long linear space. And so this is an opportunity, I think, to really daylight and explain that, as well as it obviously being a functional aspect and highly integrated, which we need it to be. So I think this one is really exciting, I think, in terms of complexity of planting we can do and so forth to really kind of explain the regional, kind of ecosystems and so forth in here. Okay, and then the children's play area at the far north end is connected to the bike trail. It's long and linear. We think we can get probably about 6 stations in there with room to run around and a border and a buffer. It's going to be fully shaded with trees. The space could have 2, kind of like the 2 major age brackets. And it could just be a series of, simple play structures, natural materials, interesting play surface, trying to get the multiple age, but it's very, in terms of its ability to kind of like be a space right off that bike trail or right off that pedestrian path. You can stop, water fountain, let the kids run around, burn off some steam. And it's part of that kind of larger trail. So it could really be a destination as you're arriving by bike. This was an earlier rendering. This is one of those a little more square, but the idea is that it is buffered on all sides, but yet it's very close and connected to the other blocks. Okay, the bike trail. There were a couple topics that we talked with staff about. So this is the bike, kind of the class 1 bike trail. You can see this dash line is where ultimately it will go under through the tunnel and connect. But this affords a tremendous opportunity for kind of gathering people at through cycling. But we also want to look at how it's going to tie into the Tommy and Inu Trail. We were also asked about some of the amenities that might be along it, as well as, is there a spot for a fitness station as well? So a couple of exploratory things is where, so I flipped it now, north is up. So this is 280 is here at the top, and just showing that the Tommy and Inu Trail will tie into both sides and potentially go under, will go under the road, Wolf Road, to connect the two. So this will have a direct connection to the trail. And we'll also sort out with the kind of Caltrans improvement project and so forth. In addition, some of the stations and things are typical what you might find on a class 1 bike trail: water filling, repair, rest stops, and so forth, which we were able to kind of place at key moments where you're slowing down to make turns. There's a stop, and so you can see this distribution of those amenities throughout. And then in addition, and this was just kind of one of the renderings that showed it backing up to one of the housing blocks, so you can get quick access to the bike trail from that. But the idea of doing a fitness station, as we talked with staff, is could we add this in there? And I think it actually, looking at a very inclusive one, which have both kind of, those of various abilities could all use this space. but looking at it as potentially augmenting the children's play area. So the idea that, the adults can break a sweat as the kids are breaking a sweat, and it's right on the bike trail. And so the idea of those things co-located seemed like a nice, kind of serendipitous connection there. And you can see there's bike parking, there's bike amenities, there's the fitness, and then the play area. So this is based on your comments. We think this is actually a really nice location for it. It's not huge, but it definitely is, it's something, and it's a significant moment in the trail system where you would likely want to stop. Anyway. Okay, jump into the east side of Wolf Road. Our other big kind of public space is Town Square East. So again, we wanted a spot to bring community together of a larger size that could have events and things. This is also a mid-block crossing between Valco Parkway and to be named Street 5 is the other end. So there you can have this garden corridor that kind of connects the two. You can walk along. There's plazas at both ends that could be just, for seating, or they could also be part of event space. There's a pretty large event lawn here, a fitness court area, and then in between is this bosque of trees where you can have outdoor seating and dining and so forth. So this is meant to be active throughout the day, but also can be used for events. So this, for example, is, let's say there's a summer festival, you can do market stalls on the lawn, you can set things up in the kind of seating area, but you can also do food trucks. This is on this side, just like we did with Town Square West. You can also, it's designed to be able to bring food trucks in so you can circulate out. So if that was desired, you can get them in there. Of course, they can also park along the street, but this play surface can be, in addition for kind of informal recreation, can also be used as event space. So it's doing double duty. And the idea is that the kind of receiving both ends is the flexible plaza, and then there's the fitness court kind of event space, and then the event lawn. So this is really, again, a major gathering space. And if you look at using both Town Square East and West, you could really have a significant, celebration here. You'd have to cross Wolf, of course, which would be, would have to happen. But I think no one on the East is now being neglected in terms of, event space and just day-to-day activity. And then finally is the East Recreational Park. It's 1.2 acres, really the biggest green space here, and it's just an open playfield, effectively. And I remember from the Parks Master Plan, you all had noted that open space is not being created, right? So out of the Valco impervious surface, we're finding some open space here, and so I think open kind of play areas that are large enough to actually engage in activity is rare in a city. So I think the idea of having this space there, it's surrounded, by either commercial office or the streets and so forth, but having a recreational play field, again, could be used for movie night or events, but it could have some, kind of small scale active sports, active recreation on that. Again, you can see the size of the space. It's good size. So I think it would be an amazing amenity in a city that is often trying to fall hard to find green space. And I'm going to come to a stop after going really fast. So thank you for that massive, receiving that massive dump of information.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation.
Yes, thank you.
And I think you really went on a faster, and if you could able to have as many questions as we can. Thank you for keeping us at the pace. That's good. And now I just want to make sure that for commissioners, for any clarifying questions, we'll come back to the discussion later, but if there are any clarification questions on what the architect presented, please. Any clarification?
I
Yeah,
don't
Commissioner
know
Swami.
if this comes under clarifying question. You'll let me know if it isn't. The fitness area, you talked about the open space area. I don't know, the specific terminology was, did you say fitness court area?
For
Open area you were talking about?
the big one or the,
Yes, the kind of quadrangular one.
I think we just called the East Recreational Park was our name for it. Again, these are very, is that what you meant? These are-
No, it was just like the concrete area.
Oh, yes. Okay, got it. Yes. So the idea that this could be, it's a somewhat irregular shape here. The idea, it would have like a hard surface, like a basketball court or a pickleball court or something. So it could be used as, and I know this could be a hot button topic, for the. So I'm conscious of that. So these sports that shall not be named, no, but the idea is that having a hard surface does allow that ability to, we've worked in cities where sometimes they will actually bring like basketball hoops in, right? And you can do this with kind of that quiet pavement that really muffles the sound. Or you could bring in pickleball, or you could do a exhibition, basketball game, or something like that. The idea is that it's a hard surface that could just be there with tables and chairs, otherwise. So, but it's rated as a fitness surface rather than just concrete. So it'll be more comfortable to plan. You don't have to do it, but it's there, and it's just a way of extending kind of the range of activities that could go in there. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
yeah, sure.
Any other
I have a
questions?
clarifying question, especially for those watching this. And I've been here 12 years. This has been going on as long as this. Is what being proposed tonight has been approved by the city of Cupertino? I know it sounds a crazy question, but, or does it still have to go back to city council for approval? Because after 12 years, I'm confused as what's happening.
Yeah, my understanding is this has been approved by the city.
Okay.
This does not need to go to city council for approval. This is part of the SB 35 package. I may speak directly, but that's my understanding. Ask the city attorney for something more specific than that, but the project has been entitled and for building. So that's the next approval, but that's staff level approval.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
So, hi, I'm Carol Stanek. Thank you very much. I'm really happy to see the nature play areas. I was actually part of creating that master plan. I think I made one of the few that's still around. And that was a very important aspect of that our parks have a natural feel. So children understand that nature is where they can play, that nature doesn't have to be something that's painted pink and blue.
Right.
And so I was really happy to see you incorporating in that. My question was for the adult areas, like the fitness court, all of a sudden it's painted. Well, what you've shown here is
Right.
bright colors. So can we incorporate those same thoughts into the adult fitness areas to make it be consistent and to give it that nice natural feel across?
I think, don't see why not. Yeah, I think that was, again, part of that was just so you can see the slide if it's shown that thing. And it sometimes sets a thing and it's not like, your plaza space. So it was meant to just indicate that it is a fitness surface, which is, a little more resilient and accommodating, falling down on it and so forth. But no, absolutely. I think that we want this to feel like you're immersed in nature in any of the spaces. And so again, the idea that one can have a slightly different experience, but it's all grounded with, planting and local ecology and so forth. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. And just one more question. And, this doesn't have to do with the architecture. So this is more of a maintenance and a management question. So when you talk about event spaces, who will manage that? Is that Mr. Paul?
Yes.
Okay, so that is not the city. So you will have your own management group or office that will, take applications if somebody wants to have an event or a festival.
And let me
Okay.
clarify, there will be a park agreement, kind of similar like we have with Main Shore, but the city will have the ability to utilize those spaces. The development team will be managing those spaces. City will have the ability to work with the developer.
Okay, great.
One final clarifying question. So these open spaces, are they primarily for residents of the Rise or is it open to the entire Cupertino public?
It's all public. The ones that we're showing are all
Yeah.
all the ground level ones that we talked about are
The 7.94 acres
are all
open for the public.
public open space.
And they will have to work with you if they want to have any events potentially on that open area.
Right.
Okay.
Through the chair, just clarifying question. It says here to provide input on the proposed public. We're talking right now, clarification. So when do we start to put our input?
No, that will be coming after the.
Okay, I just wanted
Yes.
to
Already gave you
It's-
make
the
sure I don't miss it.
Yeah, no, it is.
My notes.
It's going to come. Yeah, so because after clarification questions, we need to open to the public for any comments, if any there. Then we'll come back for comments and discussions. Absolutely.
Uh,
So do you have one more clarification
One
question?
more clarifying question. On the East Recreation Park, 1.21 acres. How does that compare to a regular soccer field? I think you said a small scale, so I was just curious about how that compares to maybe a.
I knew there was gonna be a math question. It is not a full-size field. It's a little bit smaller, but in many cases for like, kind of youth soccer, a lot of times they'll play 6-on-6 or 5-on-5. The idea is that you could get a couple of those in that space. It's
So maybe tot soccer or,
yeah.
you know, or
exactly. I
adaptive
think that-
field soccer.
So there's in it, despite, there's all the great things that come with having play fields, at the same time, when you get to the full-size regulation, then you start to attract all
Different.
sorts of interested parties.
I think it's, when I did the measurements, the green area is slightly over the size of the soccer fields, but you wouldn't have the necessary out of bounds.
Right.
Right,
play
yeah,
with
the buffer zone is definitely,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And
Yes.
I do have one question which is kind of connected with what Commissioner Stanek asked. So you said a turfed play field on the west side, I believe, and then there is an east recreational park. Both looks alike. Is it a similar? Because it's the same playing field, the turfed play field.
They are basically the same. The idea is that, but one, again, it was to distribute the program on both sides of Wolf and so forth, just so.
So both are turfed.
Yes.
Both are turfed play.
Correct, yes. The idea, we felt that the one on the west side, because it's, it's smaller and it's kind of in the midst of buildings and so forth, was more likely to be kind of a passive, green lawn space. The East Recreational Park, we thought would have a heavier use for, organized play in some way, shape or form. But it doesn't mean you couldn't do something, informal, like throw a frisbee or something over there. But it's not meant, the one on the east is likely to have the bigger load. It's larger. You got parking on both sides, right next to it and so forth, so.
Good.
Is
Thank
it
you.
grass or natural turf, or is it?
It's not artificial.
It's artificial.
It's not artificial.
It's not artificial.
Our-
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
Yes, our preference is to have natural grass.
Thank you.
Natural grass. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate it, but can you elaborate on the reasons? I agree with you, but just for the record, why?
Why natural?
Yes, and I'm with you on that, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because, again, I would say that a lot of the decisions about artificial turf, at least in our experience, are due to maintenance and operations, right? It's just easier to take care of. Fortunately, you have this person who's going to be keeping up all the landscape in the parks and open space, which the turf is just a more pleasant thing to play on. It's not as hot. You don't have issues with pets and all that kind of thing on it. And even though it's higher water use than, say, a native plant, it's certainly got some stormwater capabilities and other elements that make it beneficial. Plus, it just, in my mind, it looks a little nicer in this cooler. So it would be our preference to do that, but it does require more maintenance, obviously, than an artificial turf condition.
My clarifying question was, do you have any open area that is strictly for the residents of the Rise? Or is every open space completely open to the public?
The ones up on the building terraces are private. So these, for example, like up on these like third and fourth floors or whatever, those are private for those individual buildings. The residents can definitely use the lower level as a member of the public.
And
But-
how big is that space?
These upper ones here.
Yeah.
They vary. I mean, some of them are,
We have roughly an equivalent amount of acreage at the podium level as we can.
Oh, about 8 acres?
particularly, this one is quite a large one here, and same here. So, but these are often, they're on structure, so it means they have, depth limitations and so forth that can make it a little more challenging. So we have, even where we have garages on the lower level, we have depth to get the trees and things in on the upper deck, kind of being judicious about where you might put them. So, They tend to be, and they also have, a lot of this, even though they're drawn green, they may have swimming pools and things like that up there, so.
Which is not open to the public.
Not open to the public, and it's not really green, but it is outdoor, space for the,
Oh,
for private.
green. No, none of it is green, okay,
Well, some of it's,
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
uh-huh,
Since I think we have finished with all the clarification questions, I'll now open this to the public comment. Staff, do we have anyone on the Zoom?
We have no hands raised on Zoom share.
Anybody in the room? No? Okay, if that is the case, I'll close the public comment. Now let's move on to the commissioners' open discussions and comments. No, I think Commissioner Bona, you are, oh, sorry, already have it. Okay, please.
I really love the bike lanes and how extensive it is. I also know that there are a lot of people very passionate about walking briskly. Can that space be used by both these groups of people, or is it strictly just the bikers?
both, tends to be both.
And so how do we balance safety? Because as people are walking and there's bike, because it can be dangerous if they're.
Right.
So is there any kind of area that you're cordoning off? This part is for the bikers and this part is for, basically splitting that for bikers and walkers lanes.
You wanna,
I mean, this is a typical class one bike lane, so we'll have enough width for pedestrians and bicyclists. And yes, bicycles should not be going at 30 miles an hour down this lane because it is a shared path. But there's enough space for passing and somebody can continue walking. So.
And do we put some notification, please maintain certain speed limit, or because some of them are very professional bike.
And we can,
Bike
we will
lanes.
evaluate that when it comes up as people applying, start getting the signs, but we will be sure to remain safe and we'll be working closely with the developer on that as well.
And how wide are these lanes again, just to remind?
12, I think they're 12 plus an additional 2 foot on each side
Right.
for like a.
step a shoulder, yeah.
So roughly so on the shoulder pedestrians can walk, I take it.
Yeah.
So that's about roughly 16 feet.
Yes.
Not bad at all.
So the idea, we can get two-way plus, pedestrians can be off to the side. I also will just point out too, that at least in our section of the class one, there's some significant 90-degree turns, which definitely help slow down, bikers.
Yes.
To those turns.
And the second question was about the food trucks that you have. I saw 3, but I'm assuming, is it just space for 3, or are you saying that you're just showing it in the picture as 3?
We had shown 3 just because we didn't want the space to be too enormous, plus they also can park on the street, so. But we did want to just show that they can come into the public space in that case, if that was part of the event, so. The idea is that there's a way for service and trucks to come through without disrupting the park design. So there's enough room for them to maneuver, come in, park, and then drive away. Same thing for setup, so we want to allow for that.
And so what is the procedure for selecting food trucks? What is the basis for them to come in, or is that like a round robin? X amount of time, these trucks can be there. Have you guys thought about it? Who's going to manage that?
I think that's probably more.
As we get closer to opening the project for occupancy.
So we haven't really gotten into the details of it.
Programming issues.
I'm assuming money can play a role in it, how much they're willing to pay, or is it for pay or is it just free?
Really, we haven't thought about this as a revenue source. This is really just a way to create a 24-hour destination, create vibrancy, create a reason to come to what we think is this new town center. So that's just one idea, one reason for people to come, because there's a cultural dining and nature experiences. And I think that the food trucks will, could be an idea that happens. We know that there are other places as well. We have Main Street and Cupertino, and that's also a highly programmed place. So just as an example of what this might be, you can look at how Main Street Cupertino has been operated. This would be an extension, and probably a larger extension. But just as an example, that's a precedent that you can move to understand what might happen.
It's a good idea. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
also just, one other thing on the bikes is the streets are all shared bike car as well. So in addition to the bike, the their typical kind of, like a small residential street where you can ride. It's not like bikes can only be on the bike trail.
Oh, is it can be cars going, you said?
No, I'm saying they're in the blocks.
Uh-huh.
Bikes will be riding on the street as well. So,
Yes.
yeah, so they, in addition to,
Oh, in addition to that. we
right,
have-
in addition, they're also able to
Okay.
kind of move through.
That's good to know.
Yeah, so it's not just there.
To give you a data point, the portion of the bike pedestrian trail that will be dedicated as a park is roughly 3/4 of a mile in length. This entire project has almost 2.75 miles of bike trails. Which
Okay.
are class 1, 2, 3, 4 bike.
And all of them are about 16 feet wide, 12 feet plus 2 and 2.
These are different types of bike trails, but to Skip's point, they go throughout the block system of. So there will be other ways for cyclists to move across the site, move through the site, not necessarily around the park.
Right.
Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, I'm done.
Thank you. Commissioner,
First, maybe, do you want to?
Oh, sure.
Commissioner Stana, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate my point about the nature play and incorporating that. On the culture gardens, I don't know if it's possible, because it would look very linear, but I know that one of the other things that the public was very interested in at one time was healing gardens. So if there were plants that were associated with, healing different, in different cultures.
Yeah.
It was a culture garden too, so in different cultures, different plants. Something identifying, this is kind of plant, this is how it's used in different parts of the world. I think,
No, I think that's
Yeah,
exactly
that's
what we're
just-
thinking of. Culture was any number of ways to display kind of elements, either historical kind of planting or, medicinal planting is a great idea. I think this is meant to be kind of a really interesting, complex, almost like a botanic walk, if you will.
yeah, no,
Section,
I
so I
can
think
tell you
that's
how,
a great idea.
how rewarding it is for me to sit here and be able to bring that perspective to you.
That's great.
I will reiterate that they did do a very good job of reviewing the Parks and Rec master.
I can
That's-
tell.
That's.
It
that's-
comes
that's
across.
Yeah, well, it was easy to review, so
Oh.
well done.
Oh my gosh, it wasn't easy to put.
No, I can only imagine.
Thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner
All right.
Bono.
I just had a quick question and piggyback on what you're saying as far as, you mentioned that it would be a good reason to come to the conflict or anyone else not living there, but one, would you consider a garden rental area, a communal pickleball court, all of those things that could incorporate, because you do have the space. You know, what would be the noise factor? I'm just saying, if you want to marry resident outside of the space and people from the inside, people love to garden, space area and seeing all the numbers of, you have all those, BMR and apartments and all of that, blah, blah, blah. It might be something that can help to actually, kind of go together. Now, also on top of some certain buildings in Cupertino, I'm not gonna tell you who, but they do have bees.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Are you planning to have some on top of some of the buildings? Because we have tremendous amount of different types of bees in Cupertino.
Yes.
Even the museum here is bringing out tons of
Yes.
honey that can be purchased. I'm
Right.
just saying, there's an opportunity to help the ecosystem here.
Mhm.
And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity since that building. So, and honestly, with all that space, I'm wondering if we cannot have a communal pool for everyone else to do.
Okay. I think they're all very interesting suggestions and ones we can definitely look into for sure.
So I was going to ask about the turf, obviously, now we know it's not synthetic, and obviously, I'm sure you will mitigate else in case we go back to drought and this and that, as far as the
Yes,
plans
yes,
that
it's,
we're going to do, because it's gonna be a massive undertaking, but it's a massive.
Yes.
And I'll just say, it's well thought out, it's beautiful, and I can't wait for it to come up.
It's on, like Commissioner Stana has one more.
I also noticed that you put up their inclusive play. And I hope that that's not just a buzzword, but it really gets incorporated into how you're designing the play space.
That's the goal. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
because to add to that, we have had a really moving presentation in the past about inclusivity, and I think Sedgwick High Elementary School was the first one. And a lot of parks are apparently, I mean, it's wonderful, thank you.
Right.
The cost is very minimal when you plan it from the beginning. And I think it's much more expensive to do it after the.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think I have just one or two comments. One is that I was talking about the inclusive. So you have a children's play area that's separate, and then you have an inclusive, all inclusive play area. Is it? There are two or only one? In your plan, you have a children's play area.
That was meant to be the same.
It is the same. Okay. Got it. So, yeah, that's only one question I had. But the other general question is that I know for the construction of all of them, they'll be working with the public works. Similarly, I'm sure for the gardening, to align with our master plan, the Coast of Park and Recreation Department will also work hand in hand with them when they set up, I believe, correct?
We'll be involved with the negotiation process of how the spaces and how like similar to Main Street, right? We came to you, I think it was last month, where we talked about the teen resource fair was amazing because we have an agreement with the developer there to be able to use that space for some of our programming, right? We haven't started the negotiations yet, but it is the full intent that we will be able to use some of these spaces and have complementary programs, throughout the community, so.
That'll be awesome.
And it will indicate too that we've already kind of rolled Parks and Rec into the review of these plans. They got to see this before we presented it here, and we'll continue to include them as these designs come through.
Awesome. Thank you. First of all, I think, as the Commissioner Stanek said, I was also part of those coming up with a master plan many years back for the park, and looks like you put on a timeline to seeing everything and trying to incorporate. Truly appreciate. And I'm sure that we don't know how many years will take those master plan to come to that we're talking about, but looks like this might bring many things to the quick conclusion of those asked for it. So truly appreciate it. And yeah, in future, if further, once it gets developed, I'm sure that we're not going to wait for many more years. So hope to get some more updates once the progress is made, and would love to get some more inputs in the future.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for taking time, and especially the folks on the phone who are sitting there. Oh my God, it's now 11 plus. You may be dozing off now. Please get back to sleep, and thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
They're laughing online.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time and really enjoyed the conversation, and thanks for your input.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Good to see you here. We need 1 minute just to go ahead and do a quick transition and allow them to step out as well. That way we're not trying to talk over and then.
Okay, so we'll be break for a couple of minutes.
That would be great. Why don't we shoot to come back at 8:08? Does that work?
Yeah, we'll take a 5 minutes break right now. We'll come back at 8:08.
That would be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, because I get
Passing the-
emails from him.
You're on mute, no, Carolyn?
Yeah.
Perhaps you're on mute.
Not yet.
Oh, okay, that's
This person real.
Yeah, right, no,
We're good to go?
Can we make sure we have?
Awesome. Okay, we're back.
So I believe we're back online. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, after break, we're back here and let's go back to the, old business, item number 2. Subject is senior services subcommittee update and receive an update of the findings from the subcommittee. And, both, Commissioner Swami and myself were there together, worked on it, but I would like Commissioner Swami to present it.
If you can give me 1 second, we were staged to do the CIP presentation. So if we're gonna make that switch, then we need to redo that.
I think it's fun.
Do we need another motion?
Let's make a motion to stay on new business and move with agenda item number 4.
It's fine.
Okay.
Gopal,
Yeah,
they already
so-
have. the
Can I have a second?
They can-
A second.
Second.
All right, can we have
Thank you
a
so much.
Do we need
We're
to
happy.
go for a vote on this?
Go ahead.
We go to need to, we don't need
We
to
need
vote,
to vote really
we
quick.
need a vote.
Sorry. We are.
Fine.
You know what it's like, we have everything staged.
We're ready either or.
So thank you so much for your flexibility.
All right, Commissioner Bono,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanek,
Yes.
Commissioner Swami,
Yes.
Vice Chair Shrika is absent, Chair Marapon,
Yes.
motion carries unanimously.
Okay, let's go ahead on that one. Let me read out that 2. Please, we are moving to item number 4. It is a capital improvement programs, fiscal year 2026-2027 and a 5-year plan. The recommended action is to receive the presentation to provide input on the development of the proposed, capital improvement programs for the fiscal year 2026 and 27 and a 5-year plan as related to park and recreation funding. Thank you, please.
I am going to quickly reflect to our capital improvement manager, Sue Michael, and she'll give you the full.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Evening, commissioners, members of the public. I am Susan Michael. I am the CIP manager. And tonight we're here to introduce the proposal for the fiscal year 2026-2027 CIP program. So I wanted to note that the action tonight is to receive the presentation and provide input on the development of the proposed capital improvement programs fiscal year 2026-2027 and 5-year plan as related to parks and recreation. So the takeaway there is actually we don't need a vote on anything. We will review the CIP and the 2026-27 proposal and answer any questions that you may have. If you wish to provide support on the projects informally or formally with a vote, you can do this, but it's not required. Next page. There is a CIP webpage that I want to bring to your attention. It's on, if you go to the city's website, navigate to Public Works, you'll find it on the right-hand side. Has a lot of information about existing projects. Next slide. Get a last minute switch of who was gonna do it. So I wanted to show, there's these next 3 slides are slides that I basically copied from our presentation in March to the council. And this gives a look at the current CIP. So one of my reasons for being here is to say, here's where the CIP is these days. We do have 22 active projects right now. And 4 of those are parks projects, so bold them in the green. 2 of those projects are presently quiet. One is the habitat monitoring of an older project, and the active project is Lawrence Mitty. Next slide. We also reported on our achievements for the year. We did complete the Jollyman all-inclusive playground, which is fantastic. And we also completed the upgrade of the fire alarm system at the senior center as part of the facilities condition assessment project. The next slide. So this is a list of projects that were scheduled to be complete by the end of June, by the end of the fiscal year. So they were nearly complete. So I can say pretty confidently, Quinlan HVAC work and the roofs at Sports Center and Quinlan will be complete in June. But the Stevens Creek bikeways won't be completely done. And as you can tell by the parking lot, the photovoltaics project has a delay. So the next slide gives a little bit more detail. So we did complete the installation of the PV modules on the roof of Community Hall. And the next slide shows the Sports Center, which is a nice build out, gives some shade for the parking lot. And so that's all done. And then the next one is the Quinlan. So back here in the rear parking lot, right now you can see the columns. We are paused because we're trying to get a permit for a sprinkler system that we were required to add to go under the carport. So we still believe that the project will be completed in September or early October. And we're still gonna hit our NEAM 2 goals. It was this weird part of the code where they said that we had another year to do this particular project because it's an aggregated site, all the things. But anyway, we're still on target. So we hit our target for the first 2 sites, definitely. We're filing our paperwork now. So that's exciting. Next slide. And I also gave an update in the council meeting just on the Lawrence Mini Park project, just because people do ask about it. We are continuing to progress on what we call the regulatory permitting. We're working with the Department of Environmental Health, Fish and Wildlife, that kind of thing. So we're working on that. We're still hoping to get construction drawings done by the end of the year and start construction early on, either in December or January. So next slide. So this is for the new project. So now I'm gonna go over the proposals that we did to council for the CIP that are the 4 new parks projects. Next slide. So there's 4 slides. You can see that it's about $500,000 for those 4 projects, at least presently. And go to the next slide. The first project is the Blackberry Farm Golf Course Pro Shop. And it's in obvious need of an upgrade. We've got a great deal of foot traffic and it generates about $100,000 in revenue. And it needs electrical and accessibility improvements in addition to the facelift. We'll have to submit for building, electrical and sanitary permits at a minimum, so that project is short and sweet. The next project is the Blush property improvements. This actually came at the following council meeting, but this project that council is in favor of, this project proposes to demolish the existing residential building and basically replace it with native planting and perhaps a pathway and a bench, something very simple. So we will get that confirmed when we go back for final approval. But that's the direction that we're heading. Next slide. And Memorial Park pickleball sound attenuation. The pickleball community and the nearby residents have requested that Public Works move forward with sound attenuation improvements at the Memorial Park pickleball courts. Public Works is evaluating options. Preliminary review indicates that sound panels and a new structurally improved fence will be required. That's the whole project. Next. And we're also planning to resurface the Sports Center courts. This is a maintenance project, but it has an engineering component, so that's how it got kicked into CIP. The courts were resurfaced 10 years ago, and it's supposed to happen every 6 to 8 years. Doing this project lessens risk and liability and provides a safer, more enjoyable playing arena for the community. That's all the new projects. Next slide. So I just wanted to end with a note about the 5-year plan. Typically, every year we have a $2 million budget to plan for, and these projects work into that $2 million budget. This is just the parks projects though. And so as I mentioned earlier, the 5 projects are presently at just under $500,000. We don't have a budget yet for Blush. And the next big project is to hopefully go back to the golf course, and we agreed to do the upgrades to the irrigation system there. At least a $1.5 million project. excuse me, it'll have some upgrades to the golf course that are safety, not so much, we won't be redoing the golf courses. And then in our fourth and fifth year, we have to attack the shade structures at some of the parks. And the 5-year plan isn't approved, funded yet, it's the stated direction that we're planning on now. For example, last year's 5-year plan didn't mention tennis courts resurfacing. So things come up that rise to the top each year, so, but that is the plan for now, and that is my presentation. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so, commissioners, any clarifying questions? Oh, wow, so many clarifying questions. Let's like, before you open to public comment. So Commissioner Bono,
I
please.
just have a very easy question in regards to resurfacing for the tennis court area. Will it be ongoing, meaning is it gonna be all shut off and work at once, or will it be one section closed while it's resurfaced and reopen the other one where we're still doing the, you know what I'm saying? So
I
we still
won't-
continue to get rid of.
Thank you for the question. I won't know that till we get a bid package together. I would say that typically when you do this kind of project, sure, it's easier to close everything at once, but we don't have any interest in doing that. So, it would probably be, I'm almost 100% sure it would be phased, but I can't say how much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stanley.
Thank you. So did you say the Blush House is still coming to council?
We had a follow-up meeting, I don't know, he was the champion of that project.
Well, I should explain, I mean, what we talk about is it's coming back to council with the CIP budgets, right?
Okay,
We had talked about the entire CIP in March. Flesh House came afterwards. So we've added the Flesh House into the CIP at this point in time, and when council sees the entire CIP with the budget, that's when it'll.
so you'll have an estimate by then, because I see it's TBD up there. Because so we've got 480,000 doesn't include Blush House.
Understood. We will probably be coming back with an estimate after we do a little bit more digging into it. We've got some rough ideas on our own, but we want to get somebody who does this for a living to give us something better.
It's a chicken and an egg thing. We don't wanna go out and contract with a design concept to get us a price until we have confirmed commitment from council. So we're probably just gonna do that in July. We have some people lined up. We've already gotten proposals. So, yeah.
And how did the priority of Blush House come up? Because then you've got Stockelmeyer House right next to it that is just a mess.
Yeah, there was a specific request to move the Flesh House forward. We still have,
By council?
I believe it was from council. And we do have the city work plan that does have us looking at both the Flesh House as well as Stockelmeyer. So Stockelmeyer will be coming a little later, but Flesh was asked to be pushed forward.
Okay.
Stockelmeyer's.
I say this is the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Any question? I have a question on that. I think overall you said for the 5-year, it's 2 million, correct? For the whole 5 years, the CAP,
Typically,
park-
each year, the goal budget is $2 million.
for each year.
Yeah. We have a roughly $2 million annual budget for the capital program.
For the park and rec?
For the entire capital
CIP
program. So we've got to be very
Yeah.
judicious with the projects that we bring forward.
Okay, yeah, because I was wondering if there is a case, then I think Blackberry Golf Course, I think the third year you said it's 1.5 million irrigation. That means you lead away 75% of your whole budget on that CAP at that time. But that's only a proposal now, right? These are all just a proposal.
Right now, it's a placeholder. until-
Placeholder. But will it go every year for the council to approve for every year?
When we're ready to propose the project, we'll bring it to council. So we.
No, yeah, my question is that, will it go by year approval by the council?
Yeah, so
Got
this year they're approving the 26, 27.
Got it, okay. But they will have on a bird's eye view on, oh, what's coming up, that's why you are giving us some idea.
The first year is the year that we're funding.
Got it,
They are approving the 5-year plan, but it's not funded. Only the
Oh, I
first
see.
year is funded.
got it, okay, thank you. Sorry,
I
Commissioner.
just do have a clarifying question. when the CIP project is approved by the city council, and you, as you rightly pointed out, it's a 5-year project, for example, and if they just approve 1 year, and let's say there's a budget crunch, and they're not able to approve some years in the 5-year period, that is, what happens then?
To a certain extent, that's why it's a plan. We have a plan to spend this, but if the budget comes in and we're like, we're not gonna give you $2 million, well, the plan changes. So we actually went through that a couple of years ago at TFA. We had a plan and we actually didn't fund the capital improvement program for, was it a year or so?
2 years.
2 years. So we could take those dollars, and place it towards other items. We had plenty of projects at that time, so we continued to work on projects. But yeah, it's a plan and it can change.
So this budget for the photovoltaic project that you showed, it has stayed within the budget? Because I know that when you had presented to us, it was very heartening to see that you had made provisions for in case it goes over budget. So you had made all of those provisions. So have we stayed within it so we didn't have to go back to the city council, correct?
Yes, we have an approved budget for the project, the overall project of 6.3 million.
Yeah.
And I believe we've contracted for closer to 4 million
So you are coming way under budget.
so far.
It's not quite done yet.
Don't
Yeah.
count your children.
Pretty much.
Excellent. That's really heartening to hear. Thank you.
I'm sure that there will be ways to spend that money.
I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, you have one more question, please, Councilor Stanek.
Where do the park amenities fit in with all of this? Because I know you mentioned it there.
It is one of our projects. We aren't doing anything with it right now.
Okay.
And it's not for, well, there's no good reason for that other than we don't really have the staff to do it.
The resources,
Oh,
our
okay.
staffing resources are really limited at the moment, so we're focusing on PV project, which is time sensitive, and a couple of other projects that have grant associated with them, which are time sensitive. We know it's important, but we only have so much power we can throw at the project. We still have a list of some 20 projects, and we have basically 2 project managers, and it's a heavy lift. So we are working on it though.
Yeah, we need to work on like getting more hours in the day for Susan.
Oh.
Cloning Susan or something.
Yeah.
But so the park amenities, they're funded, we just have not been able to.
We've done some work over the last few years. We just haven't, we haven't had a lot of time with our CIP division to focus on it. We kind of picked some of the lower hanging fruit and done that, and some of the bigger stuff were project managers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Since we don't have any more clarification questions, I'll now open this to for public comment on this item too. Any?
Yeah. You had my card, right?
The card is there, right?
Okay, I might have put the wrong number on there. If this is for whatever, this is what I want.
So we have one speaker, Chris Satherley. And let me bring up this. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Chris Satterley, and I've been a Cupertino homeowner since 1993, and my Jollyman Park, the new playground is like right out our back bedroom window, and my grandkids love it. And so just want to give kudos for everybody that was involved in making that happen. But I'll make this brief, and I think I'm pretty much preaching to the choir, but the Memorial Park Sound Attenuation Project is a huge win-win. The neighbors win because they get this long-awaited and long-deserved relief from the sound of pickleball. And the pickleball community wins because it will make it unnecessary to implement restrictions that exclude virtually all working people or require the use of expensive equipment that alters the nature of the game. With the sound barriers, there'll be no issues with compliance or enforcement of new restrictions. Pickleball players will be able to fully enjoy this wonderful game that has been proven to improve mental and physical health without torturing our dear neighbors. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Anyone on the Zoom?
We have no hands raised, I'm sure.
Awesome. If that's the case, let's close the public comments and then we will open it for commissioners for any other comments and discussions, not the clarification. So, any comments on
Comments on what was spoken?
CIP? Yeah, so
On
this is
CIP.
now, you had a clarification
I
question.
did
Now, is
have
there
one
any
question.
comments,
Yes.
comments or suggestions,
Yes.
any discussions?
Susan, did we know, is this a new requirement to have the sprinklers for the photovoltaic issue? Or is it something that came as a surprise to us? Because I know that's a home builder. When I did, I was sometimes a bit surprised at knowing and learning about requirements such as this. So
So-
was this just out of the field for you guys?
Yes and no.
Okay,
It is a very Cupertino requirement. It's in the building code
yes,
and the fire code
yes.
because of the Cupertino municipal code. And it's being triggered because it's the size of the carport. So, that was news to us, news to the designers on the project. So it wasn't properly accounted for in the original, working schedule, but like we said, luckily it doesn't affect our timeline.
How much more did it add to the budget? I can't imagine it being significant.
Well, it's a design build contract,
Yes.
so in some ways we're covered. I don't think I've been hit with the proposed change order yet,
Thank you.
but right now,
Think to know, good.
yeah, so as far as we know, it's covered because it's part of their requirement to deliver.
Thanks.
Thank you. But, okay, there's no more comments or discussion on it. But you have questions, Stanek, please.
Just a comment, when you start going on park amenities, we appreciate seeing it. Thanks.
Great, thank you, Suzanne, and
Thank you.
for sharing. So, let's move on to the next one. I think right now I can come back to the world business, I believe. Item number 2, subject is the senior survey committee update and the recommended action to receive an update on the findings. I'll leave it to Commissioner Swami. The presentation is there, I believe, staff, you will taking the presentation. And just to remind, this is an update, so there's no motion required on this. This is an update on the.
Hold on.
Okay.
Thank you. Such a wonderful presentation. Back at Jack.
Yeah, it's here.
Yes,
Excellent.
thank you.
Swami.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Kumarappan. Can we actually go to the next slide? Thank you.
Thanks, Susan.
Thank you, bye.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Seema Swami. It was such a pleasure working with the Chair Kumarappan on this project. I'm very excited to present our proposal, improving Cupertino senior citizens' quality of life through intergenerational interactions. The core mission is when we talk about quality of life for our seniors, we often focus on basics like healthcare, transport, and physical safety. While these are vital, they are pretty foundational and absolute requirements, but what makes life worth living is also a connection, a human connection. As you can see on this slide, it is quite startling when we found that there are 43% of the seniors within Cupertino who live alone, as compared with the general population, that's only about less than 20% of them. So some of the key issues, as you can imagine, include feeling lonely, feeling cut off, feeling a sense of alienation, and feeling that they are not part of the general construct that we have, social construct that we have out there. Added to that, if you can go to the next slide, not only do we have digital literacy gap, we also have language barriers. As you all know, about half of our senior citizens are foreign born, and 49% are foreign born, and 27% of those are 65 years plus. And they report speaking English less than very well, and this is based on the senior seniors survey, the age-friendly Silicon Valley, which is, we have sourced that. In addition to that, many of them also have mobility issues, right? So let's go to the next slide. How do we address this? One of the key issues in which we can address this particular gap is to have illustrations for seniors to combat the silent epidemic of loneliness. It would be great for them not to just speak to other seniors and talk about limited topics, how lonely we are, what are the health issues, what's happening here, what's happening there too. Instead, actually become more socially vibrant and also get the help that they need. For example, if we have or if we develop a program for intergenerational interactions, we would be able to combat the silent epidemic and also of loneliness. And having a young person to talk to and teach provides a renewed sense of purpose. And may I dare say, social vitamins that improves their cognitive health. Not only do they learn about more issues, it is also really good for them. And for the youth, it provides a different perspective. They're just talking to their fellow youth, other young people, and they're just talking about limited topics. But here, when they're talking to seniors, they're also learning about different issues altogether. In a high pressure environment like Cupertino, spending time with someone who has seen it all can provide an emotional grounding, mentorship, and a living history that no textbook can provide. So behind the data, there are faces, and we spoke to members of the community, and here's what they told us. Some of the seniors, see, when we interact with youngsters, it feels like we have a new pulse altogether, right? I don't want to be cared for per se necessarily. I also want to be useful. So it's not just getting services from them, but also having this vibrant interaction. We can also talk to teenagers about how things work and learn from them how things are and have discussions on how things should be, which is fantastic. Some of the other seniors also talk to us about how they have lost a sense of community in this high-tech world where everyone is just rushing off to work, doing their homeworks. So when they have the structured or unstructured time with youngsters, it is really very rewarding for them. And it's not rewarding just for them, but it's also, when you do something good for others, you get a personal high and a dopamine hit. And that is very, very much medicinally backed, which is why altruism is a great thing. Because when you are altruistic, you're not just helping the other person, you're helping themselves as well. So here's the opportunity we have. We have a substantial population of almost 10,000 students in the Fremont FUHSC, right? And that is actually 16% of the Cupertino residents. The students are really struggling to get volunteer hours because they're all focused on getting into colleges as well. So while they may start with, I need opportunities, I need to make my resume look great to be accepted in my target schools, they're also struggling to get the volunteer hours. So bringing this win-win situation, which is mutually beneficial for them, would be fantastic. Let's go to the next slide. We'll elaborate on this a little bit more down the road. So specifically, what are the key things that students bring? They can make a meaningful difference, not just for the seniors, but also to themselves. They get their volunteer hours, which is critical. Next, they have a direct impact. They can help reduce loneliness and also tech anxiety. A lot of people of the older generation really think AI, or Zoom and all of these things are quite challenging, and there are not that many people that are very tech savvy. For them, it is a route in which or means by which they can connect to their grandchildren who don't live in the same geographical vicinity. And it's also skill development for the youngsters. It helps build leadership, patience, and communication skills, and also expands their social skills, how to speak to others, what matters to other people, which is certainly far beyond what they need. And lastly, what is really beneficial for them is the flexible hours, right? They're not under a pressure to have this hour, I need to go, I need to play tennis. Sure, figure it out, and you can always look at a good way in which you can present or you can interact, and you can do as many or as few as you like. They can even take their laptops and do their homeworks and also give a passive companionship afforded to the senior citizens. Let's go to the next slide, please. So in terms of the intergenerational bridge, let's replace the service hours. It may start as I'm trying to do a service, but it might end up just becoming genuine connections and friendship, right? We aren't just looking for feel-good moments. We are looking for tangible improvements in the Cupertino community. We can potentially track progress through 3 pillars, potentially through the surveys that are already in place. We could look at mental and emotional wellness, how much of the sense of isolation is reduced. Hopefully, it will reduce by 20 to 30% in terms of loneliness scores. And youth resilience, we can also look at stress buffering effect for students and measure if mentorship lowers anxiety levels regarding their futures. And also, there are so many times when the youth is unable to connect with their parents on a number of things because they don't want to be judged. And now they are in a judgment-free environment where they can talk freely and frankly, especially because they're also providing a service. It's also a way in which you can vent out. A lot of times there are psychological problems because people are looking at what is socially acceptable and talk about that. And they all want to put on a good face, especially the teenagers. They want to be there showing how brave they are and how trouble-free they are. And there's a good opportunity for them to bond with someone. You can talk more freely with a complete stranger or someone who's completely unconnected to your social environment, and that can create deep connections and maybe also help reduce the number of hours required with one-on-ones with psychologists or psychiatrists, right? The cognitive and physical health for the active aging, potentially we can look at how much more there's an increase in terms of physical activities like shared walk, gardening, increased social engagement, and how much smarter they're becoming in terms of technology and digital literacy. I already spoke about the social capital, but we can certainly track cross-age friendships as another key metric, and sustainability in terms of how much high is the retention rate? How many more participants are continuing this relationship going forward? Next slide. Some of the key activities could be walking, grocery shopping, picking up medication, going to the library, dropping and picking up books. And when they go to the library to drop and pick books, they might just end up picking books for themselves as well, which is an unintended issue because they're so busy, they might think, I really don't want to go there. But when they're picking stuff, they might just find something, or in discussions about certain literature, their interest can be piqued. They can play together, board games, cards, what have you, and they can also do gardening and other joint activities. And most of all, as we spoke about it, companionship is a huge positive issue. Let's go to the next slide, please. We're talking about mobility. It is being physically active reduces stress significantly. And some seniors may be more mobility challenged. They can either drive them to the park or they can just walk around in the neighborhood itself. Next slide, please. In terms of practical assistance, while we have highlighted a couple of these issues, it could be a lot more. It could be that, can you drive me to the airport, or can you pick up one of my relatives, or can you do a bunch of, it can be mutually agreed upon. They negotiate how they help each other and what can be done. And in terms of payments, they can actually make sure that the payments are done through Zelle, or if they're picking up grocery, or they can pay online and these people can just pick up. So it's really a question of enabling these interactions. And next slide, we're looking at the tech tutoring. This is the most common issue, as we all know, educating them. AI can be such a friendly way in which the seniors can be connected to the larger systems out there. And they can also help them spend one-on-one time or group time, or even enable the seniors to get together, or even the intergenerational groups to get together occasionally or periodically, and basically navigate the digital world. Lastly, how do we actually think about implementation? Because because they are high touch points, next slide, please. There are significant concerns of safety, right? What is the background check of the students? What about the background check of the seniors? We have to be really careful about that. There are already some programs where high school students are providing a lot of volunteering for various activities, and Chair Kumarappan, you and I saw how many of them were there when we were there for the camping, right? And so there is a structure in place. We can leverage that and expand on it. It could be partners, could be Cupertino Senior Center, FUH HSD Schools, and WVC Community Services, and for doing the background checks. Let's actually go to the next slide, please. In terms of implementation of safety, again, this is just kind of bringing it all together. It's more like a summary slide than anything else. So it's just how do we stronger together, generation to generation. Let's go to the next slide. The call to action that we are looking at is, get the city council's buy-in. The goal is to launch a pilot project with 20 student ambassadors, because obviously, while the intentionality is always great, there may be certain things that we have not accounted for, but that we can learn along the way, learn what is working, what are the glitches, iron out the issues, implement the changes, test these through an iterative process, and then launch it more widely. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Any clarification questions before we open to the?
No,
public?
actually, I do have a question.
Yes.
First and foremost, thank you. It's been a few months that you guys have been working on that, and I
Yeah.
have a question for you and staff, because you've done the data.
Yeah.
You've done the research, but based on what you showed, and I will come up with the question to staff at the same time.
Yeah.
You mentioned language barrier exists.
Yes.
I have to tell you, there's a new company in Cupertino that does AI, that at the Chamber of Commerce, we embedded it in any way. You land on whatever website, it says hello in half a second in every languages, which pushes people to already visualize, oh, that's my language. You can ask any and all question you want.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering here, since you were talking about call to
Yes.
action, to actually move forward and see if we can maybe, based on your sort of call to action, maybe involve also the teen commission.
Absolutely.
there
Oh,
to-
absolutely. Actually, we missed putting that point, but this did come up. I think in one of the slides,
The collaboration one.
Collaboration.
Team commission.
we
one.
actually mentioned, I think it just got erased in
That's
one of my
fine.
edits. But
Perfect,
absolutely, the teen commission is something that
We talked
we
about.
talked
Yes.
about extensively.
because
That would
with
be
the
great.
AI and the
Yes.
all you have for Cupertino, and that's where staff come handy.
Yes.
If you do have a social media or something that is pushed through the city to actually bring teen commission or the youth,
Yes.
and so that they
Yeah,
can
so-
teach AI, they can teach how to
100%.
use system
Yes.
to create less loneliness, like you said. You're closer now to a pilot that will actually be meaningful for so
Absolutely.
many people.
Yes.
Because it touches everybody. Loneliness, you don't have to be in the 60s, 70s, 80s. Welcome to Silicon Valley, okay?
That's
I'm
true.
just saying, but you
Sure.
are close to a great plan,
Yeah.
but it's time that we combine with their intelligence and see. And again, and this is my ask, can we bring it to council to see, is there a way we can do a program which tackles loneliness in the way that here in Silicon Valley, we're known in the world to only work
Yeah,
and
so-
do nothing ourselves?
There are a number of companies that are
Sorry,
doing that.
yes, we will come back to the comments and discussion area then. So the question is, your clarification question is, can we include teen commission
and
into
move
it?
forward,
And then
try
move
to
forward.
push forward
So-
for a pilot.
I would
Yeah,
like to
so-
tell the staff that I will update it by adding the teen commission collaboration. It was definitely part of it, but I think it just, in one
So
of
we will
the,
update
in one of
Okay.
the subsequent ones, I'll send you the updated one to kind of put it out there.
on the slides. Okay, any clarification question? Yes, Commissioner Stammen.
Yeah, so I guess my first question was, what was your source of the data?
It was not a survey, so I went to.
So you didn't use the senior survey?
I did.
Oh,
We looked at that. So the source of the data were multiple. It was a senior survey, and we looked at the other survey that we put up there
Silicon
earlier,
Valley,
the Silicon Valley. We looked at a number of data sources. But in addition to that, we actually spoke to people in the senior center and also the neighborhoods, just scanned around, cloned around, spoke to some of the youngsters as well who are actually doing some of these social services.
Great.
Just go
Yeah.
around.
So-
How many people did you speak with? How many seniors and how many
I
teens?
would say we spoke to about 30 to 40 people overall.
So
And-
one is before we go there, sorry, I'll just make a comment. So I think the slides have those links to those sources.
At the bottom, yes.
At the bottom.
We have, I think it
Because
is
when
there
we
in the
share it-
PDF, yes. So we looked at sources like,
At this
yeah.
point, so
So she wouldn't have it, but I can list the senior center, the senior survey. We looked at another one that says age-friendly initiatives project. And then we looked at Cupertino demographic analysis. We looked at US Census Bureau, where we saw the city of Cupertino facts and figures. And we also looked at Bay Area census and world population review. So we just looked at multiple sources just to look at a sense of how many seniors we have. And this will only become worse. The problem will get worse as healthcare gets better and better. People's longevity continues to increase.
But
Okay, so-
ironically, you help the younger generation. to
That-
come
isn't
out
that
their
funny?
shell and-
Yes,
Okay, so
right.
maybe, yeah, thank you. So does that help answer your question or
Yeah, I have
not
a few
yet?
others.
Yeah, please, go on. Wow.
I was taking notes.
Yeah, please, please.
So you
Thank
mentioned the FUHSD population of
Yes.
9,700 students. Is that the Cupertino resident population of FUHS? Because
No,
FUHSD
they're
has
not.
5 high schools.
Yes,
Three of
they're
them
all
are out
Cupertino
of Cupertino.
schools. We looked at Cupertino schools, but they are not all Cupertino residents.
I think
Well,
you
no,
mentioned
but
16%
Well,
for
she
residents.
said
Yeah.
well, I thought you said 16%. The 9,700 represented 16% of Cupertino
Cupertino.
residents. That's what I heard you say.
What I said is very good point, and I will clarify that going forward. We have about 9,700. If you just look at, they're not all Cupertino residents. What we meant to say is that we have about, that number represents about 16% of the entire population, but they're not all Cupertino
But
residents.
not of the population
Not
of
of
those
the
schools. I mean, because
population.
they cover Sunnyvale.
Yes,
and
exactly.
Part of San
Yes.
Jose and.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, yeah.
Yes,
Um,
but they are
so-
welcome to come and
Sure, but
Yeah, but-
outreach to them. So we had a presentation from a group that was doing an app
yes,
that they were already doing a lot of this work. They were getting seniors, they were getting students to sign up. They were even looking at the background checks.
But that's
Have you
through a
looked at that?
501c3. That,
Right, no, so I was trying to understand, how is this different from what they're doing?
well, it's not a 501c3 and they're
So-
not pushing their own nonprofit.
So, yeah, so I think
no, but he's right, let me elaborate on that and you can go ahead first and then I'll elaborate.
yeah, I think it has a similarity between what they have done. But they are doing it for the entire, not just Cupertino alone. They started with as a nonprofit and they're scaling across. But this particular one is focused on Cupertino, the specific seniors, and through city programs and as part of the Park and Rec or Teen Commission, whatever it is bound to only Cupertino.
Yeah.
On it. That's not like expanding to all. Because that doesn't
Really
There's
address
no,
Cupertino's needs.
obligation for them to just focus only on Cupertino seniors. So
okay.
that's
Okay,
because it
so-
has a different
And it
way
is
of.
also a much
So
smaller program.
How
They don't
do you
have-
Sorry.
envision implementing this? Is it through staff? And how much staff time would it take to implement? What kind of staff?
So may I make a comment
Yeah.
on that one? So this is, as I said, this is our observation, this is our findings, this is what our recommendations, right? So at this point, any of these things will go to the staff. And we are not going to ask them to implement or anything. This is our recommendation.
Yes,
Based on the bandwidth and already spoke to the Caroline Oswald on that. So it is based, they have a lot, many things on their program. And this will go as one of the items and they will see wherever there is a possibility, then they will think about it. But so this is not an ask or giving them a direction to go and implement. We would love to have it. That's a finding.
Yeah.
And since there is a senior center, so possibly this will go as a very important thing to senior center team. And once they come back with what are the programs they have, this could be one of them. But there is no specific beyond that because we don't want to tell them what things they need to do it. We're just giving a recommendation.
yes. Actually.
We are stopping at that point. So
Yeah,
just
I would
want to
like to
clarify.
add to what the chair was saying. Absolutely, we're just presenting the findings and some recommendations. The city council can choose to fund it. And the city council can choose, for example, I'm not saying that it is a CIP project, but some kind of an improvement kind of a thing, they can always fund it in terms of how they're thinking about it. Go ahead.
So, sorry, so if there is a clarification over, then I think I would like to go to the public and then come back to the comments and discussion. Is that okay? I know this is moving into the comments and discussion section, so I would like to.
Oh, it is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions, Commissioner Steiner?
Clarification.
Clarification. Yeah. Well, it's just, did you consider what programs do we have that meet some of these needs already?
As far as I can tell,
I think should be part of the comment discussion.
yes, it should be part.
Can we come to that part? Okay, okay, if there's no more clarification question, I just want to go by the process.
Yes.
I'd like to open this for a public comment in case if anybody still there and raise their hand.
We have no speakers here.
You are
Thank
a.
you.
Stuck around.
Yes, please.
So on the room, please.
Sorry.
So hold on a second.
I
You,
would like to speak.
Okay.
then you need to submit a card, right? He has to submit a,
Give us 1 second, then. We're a minute.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's less time to sing this.
All right, go ahead.
card, please.
This is gonna be very, very quick. Just have another idea for your list of possible activities that these students could do, and I'll give you one guess what it is. Take them and play pickleball.
No, it-
Any, no, I mean, how could you not know? But we've got many octogenarians up. Obviously, it's not every elderly person has the mobility to do it, but for those that do, in terms of the loneliness factor, it solves it. They're gonna have a huge community of friends. Anyways, that's it.
Awesome, thank you, appreciate it. Okay, since no more public are available on the Zoom, so let's close the public comments. Let's open for any comments and discussions. And Commissioner Bonner, you are already
Right, I'll
there.
just take a quick, like I said earlier. You are on the verge of a pilot. And yes, I understand what you're saying and all, but, in this body, we do receive tons of nonprofits requirements. That can be implemented and mandated that any and all other people, we are also giving money away on a yearly basis. Plug in to this possibility to connecting, and so this program can piggyback on all their other platforms and nonprofits, which we could also make it mandatory if they do want any money from the city of Cupertino. That would be a a good segue to implement all of that. So like I said earlier, and answering also Commissioner Stanek on it, it's not about staff time.
Yes.
This is about the fact that this is a huge possibility that can be first shared with another commission to get also their knowledge so that we can join together, because I think it might be, it's good for all ages.
Yes.
Whether it's super young to help the old who know how to use their phone, how
Yes.
to call 911, little things like that. But also AI is here to help us so easily in any and all languages. And I think it's great. I understand the part of the data, but I think there's so much more than that, and that could be, because I would be on it, because I'm lonely. So. When I'm traveling.
I actually
sorry, yeah.
completely concur with what you're saying. There are programs, for example, we do have certain programs like the Techie Teen programs, right, in existence. Then we also have the Gen Connect intergenerational mixers, but they're not very, the tech teams, we have a few times a year. It's not on a regular basis that like we're talking about, like building greater number of volunteer, is it?
That's right.
Volunteer hours. So we can bring that together and expand those programs altogether. And we can also look at intergenerational celebration and expand that forward and expand it further out as well. So make it more open and make it more also It doesn't always have to be face to face. Sometimes you have made someone tech savvy, you can continue to have those conversations and
But I
interactions.
just wanted to finish on that
Yeah,
and
please.
say
Yes,
that
please. Oh, I thought you were done.
even if
Apologies.
on this body, even if we just, you focus on reaching the gap between the old and younger.
Yes,
And the technology together, combining with the ability for each and every single nonprofits who are getting funding, that could automatically kind of fund it and have multiple platform available in so many
Absolutely.
languages in Cupertino.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we're there.
yes.
And now we could bring it together with schools and with team commissions and then implement it with any types of grants.
Yes. I completely
So-
think that's a wonderful idea to continue to run
And I'm
up
done.
what you were saying.
Yeah, so
I
you're
do
done. Okay,
understand.
thank you. so much.
Wanted to respond because you have hit the nail on the head. We have not actually gone into the details of how this project should look like, right? These are just some initial ideas. And we have a number of Bay Area projects that are going on as well in the intergenerational space. But we could also make it a more strong, structured one where there's such a strong opportunity for multiple students to interact with the same adult because, it really ultimately is a matching between the
Yeah.
personalities and the
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah, so
What we
thank
need.
you. So you have.
Yeah, no, I think this is, it's wonderful. This is another good apple pie to get intergenerational
Yes.
people help, the students who, from what I understand, students who have grown up in the COVID
Yes.
era are lacking some social skills.
Absolutely.
And, the interaction, all of that is great. I think I want to make sure that what we're doing complements what's already happening in the city. I mean, I know that the senior center has this connection for tech and it's just always available. There's certain days that are always there. So I think some of the things we're already doing. And so
Yes.
and
But not many people are really coming to the senior center, unfortunately. There are
Well,
huge population.
So the question is, how do we promote
Yes,
what we want to get done
Exactly.
and have the impact that we
Yes.
want to have? And
that's right. Because I was surprised to
And-
see a lot of seniors really are not going to the senior center. Some of them are not even aware of it.
right, so that's a different problem that,
Yes.
maybe that's maybe a first step that we
That's
could do.
I
There is also there was a woman here who was pitching to us for the community grants.
Yes.
She was the executive director. Unfortunately, her project came in late, it didn't really fit, but their organization is amazing. I think it's Heart of Silicon Valley. Part of the valley, where they do exactly this. And it's not just with youth, they do it with anyone. So, it could be Claudio or we have some extra time. We sign up to do gardening or driving or something for seniors in need.
That's right.
And so there are a lot of things that, and I understand. So that's what I was trying to understand. So it's great ideas. What I understand is you're not really suggesting how to implement this.
Yeah, so let me put it there. So we know how we want to implement it. And the only thing is that we are just putting that as a proposal, as a suggestion on the table to the Park and Rec or the city and the department, because officially as a commission, we cannot give them a direction to our staff. So rather we can put something on the table, we recommend it, and then wherever there's
city
an
council.
opportunity,
Yeah.
we can bring it to the council
You
to
have a
using
seat.
our
Yes, have
well-
a seat at the table to have a discussion.
discussion on that.
Yes,
Possibly, as Commissioner Bono suggested, I think even though we had it as a team commission as a partner, it's an opportunity for us to go and do this with the team commission, and then with the FUSHD,
yes.
because senior center is already within us, so we
Yes.
already done it. So if we could do that, it brings more of those antennas goes up and say, oh, looks like we all can come together as a city.
And I just.
That's the purpose.
Go ahead.
That's all we.
And I just want to say, and again, to answer your question, this can be as simply as connecting the old and the new.
Yeah.
But can the project can become the alphabet and complicated, complex? Yes. But I think that the idea here presented tonight is to link through technology and link barrier of languages, the old and the new, and bring them together. That is super
Yes.
doable and a pilot that can take off.
No, it was there. We definitely talked about it.
The technology is.
Yeah, so like.
Probably missed it, but but
Yes.
absolutely we talked about it, which is exactly what you are talking about.
Excellent, thank you. So there is no.
And also the linking the school itself, when you have the school principal saying that,
Yeah.
then you have so many more people that are willing to, and it's not just a senior center. If we have a list of the seniors, whoever wants to, to a letter from the city or whatever, they can always sign up and say, I need the help. Who
Excellent,
doesn't
thank you,
want?
thank you, Swami. I think most of the work is done by Swami and.
And
So we understand.
this is just a
And
recommendation.
thanks to me for translating. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you.
We give
With that,
credit.
so with that, we'll close it. I'm sorry.
Words on the topic.
Please.
So thank you, first of all, so much for your work and for your thoughtful input, right? Couple different things. I think we'd all agree that this is very programmatic in nature, correct? And so, you know, as the department continues to explore intergenerational programs, and you're absolutely right, Commissioner Stanek, we have a wide range of intergenerational programs, some of the which that have been mentioned, doesn't mean that they couldn't be expanded upon, right? And so as we look at our programs, we can certainly take some of these recommendations into consideration moving forward. I'll remind you on two different things. Number one, we do have each division within our department come and present. We do have our senior elder adult manager planning to come in September to speak on that, et cetera. I will make a note, or I already made a note, to make sure that he highlights the intergenerational small summary of them, but I'll make sure that he highlights what we already offer to the Cupertino community, right? I would also say that at our next meeting, we have our marketing and communications folks coming, and a lot of what I heard you say was people might not know about something, right? And so I too can have that conversation, and he can, before the next meeting, talk about some of the things that are being done to help attract new seniors, new older adults to our programs. So I've made those two notes, so that way that can be taken into consideration in June and then again in September, and kind of tie some of these loose ends together. I thought you had an interesting suggestion about the community funding program. That's something that I'm gonna need to do a bit more research on. But I don't know if in the past that we have ever said that in a particular year, there's been a policy decision funding in one sort of arena versus another. And that's something that, being fairly new here still, I would need to do some research on. My guess is that that has not been a past practice. My guess is that that is not part, well, I know it's not part of the current policy. So that's something I'll need to do more research on. But I do want to remind you, and we all agree that it was programmatic in nature. The commission is policy and the department is programmatic and operations and that sort of stuff. So as the chair mentioned, we will take your considerations or your recommendations as considerations as we develop future programs. But really, there's no policy item being discussed tonight.
Okay, may I actually add to the whole thing we were talking about, while senior citizens and center, even when people are aware of it, actually the number of the memberships does not reflect the population of seniors within the city of Cupertino. So it should go, what we are proposing is it goes beyond that. And I know you're relatively new. I just wanted to inform you also that the previous mayor, Mayor Yang Chow, and now currently the vice mayor, had it very, it was very close to her heart. And she also suggested that she gave the blessing to the subcommittee to get the results and findings. She said, we as the city council would like to get a set of recommendations so that we can understand and wrap our heads around it.
And if I just can close, at the end of the day, we had 24 requests for grants for Cupertino. It is money from Cupertino, so asking them to involve it if they want that money as a 501c3, it's a win-win for Cupertino and for the call to action to be taken. So it's almost kind of a no-brainer, but wanted to make sure that that has been considered because that could change the game for Cupertino.
And that could be one of the venues, but also if the city can give blessing to the FUHSD per se, that makes it even more powerful.
Excellent.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Thanks for your comments and excellent. If that is the case.
And
then
I
we
will
close-
include, I will include your comments on the FUHS, 5013 when I give you the updated one, so it'll be helpful.
Okay, and we do need to post those within a certain days.
So I will send it to you
So,
tonight or
yeah,
tomorrow?
If you don't mind that.
By
would
end
be
of day
great.
tomorrow?
That would be perfect.
Excellent.
That means, right, okay, sorry. I'm confirming with Lindsay for,
Awesome,
but she does have a requirement to post that within a certain.
And you're
time
welcome
frame.
to send
So
me
thank you.
absolutely,
bullets
awesome.
in an email.
Thank you,
Do
thank you
that.
so much, and we'll close on it, and then let's move on to the next item, which is the staff and commission reports. This portion of the meeting is reserved for the staff to provide any updates on matters pertinent to the commission and for the commissioners to report on any commission-related activities. The staff have any staff report now, Carolyn?
I do, and I'm pulling it up, so thank you so much for your patience.
And specifically this time, call out no questions or comments by the commissioners during the presentation. It's called out, so I just want to read it out.
Do it after. I have never seen
No.
something written so thoroughly as Carolyn does it. I've already given her my
Yeah,
copy.
it is awesome.
Can't do it after.
No, at this point, it says no question or comments by the commissioner. After that, immediately goes on a commission reports.
Okay,
So
I'm
we
sorry,
ask
I didn't hear what you were.
No,
saying.
so I know we will not ask any questions or comments during the presentation, but after the presentation, if you have any questions, can be. I just wanted to see because it's not in the.
Correct, as long as it's related to the staff report and.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
as long as-
related to the staff report. Okay,
I did.
perfect. Yeah, I
Perfect.
would love to.
Yes,
Thank
okay, so give me 1 second, I have one additional thing in here that I want to get out and show you guys. I'm sorry, when my computer, because there is a delay, it appears oftentimes for staff that there's a problem. But it's truly sometimes just our delay. So, okay, thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you some of the highlights that have been going on since we last met, as well as some of the exciting things going into, I would say we are busy year round, but our busiest season of the year. As was alluded to earlier this evening, the city council did receive an informational memo from the Parks and Recreation Department on residency fees, registration, and sports courts in public parks. The information memo is available at cupertino.gov/memos. I do want to share with you also that since we last communicated, our Instagram page did go live, and we talked a little bit about marketing today. And older adults, might not be the first people to go to Instagram. But you got to remember that our senior center is 50+. And so I think sometimes you think of, the 50+ are generally the working seniors, then you have the early retirees, and then sometimes you have like our older seniors. I'm getting off tangent, but what I want to say about Instagram is that it is live. Hopefully all of you have joined our page. It is one more way for us to engage with our community, to convey important information, and really to inspire action. And so we will be getting a full marketing and communications update at our next meeting, including some preliminary information about the transition to Instagram. I want to share with you next the California Park and Recreation Society. This is the recent issue, the spring issue of the magazine. So I'm going to pass that around at the same time. But what I want to highlight for you is that the Cupertino Parks and Recreation Department team was recognized as a winner in the senior photo contest. And so you will see the second place prize. I think it's page 36, if I recall. I have the pages kind of tabbed in there. But there's a variety of different categories. And when this image was submitted based on vitality, connection, and community spirit of our seniors, the picture was specifically captured at the 2025. So remember, this is everything from the prior year, senior volunteer luncheon. So our volunteers that have 50+ hours of service, highlighting the meaningful impact that they make to the recreation programs and services that we offer at the senior center. Next, I just wanted to share with you that Earth and Arbor Day was held on Saturday, April 4th on Civic Center Plaza. It did include over 50 interactive booths, live entertainment, hands-on activities, and food trucks, as well as event sponsors. It was really good to see the community come together in support of a greener future. That is an event, that does take place each year. So mark your calendar for the first Saturday of April next year. Tonight is a very exciting night for the Parks and Recreation Department. Most of my colleagues are in Campbell at the California Park and Recreation Society District 4, so our region of the state, award ceremony. We're receiving awards in several categories. So that one's a statewide award. These are more regional in nature. Some of the awards are those that we put out to acknowledge our teen volunteers and our senior volunteers. So we have 2 teens receiving awards and 2 seniors receiving awards. But we also received the Award of Excellence for the McClellan Ranch Preserve Creek Tour program. And then we also received the Key to the Community for the recreation event volunteer program. So really at its heart, our work is about bringing people together and improving quality of life in our community. And we're really excited that our colleagues in the profession are recognizing our organization for the things that we're doing in our community and the outstanding work of our staff. The last thing I want to highlight is that one of our staff, Randy, our facility attendant here, is getting a professional merit award tonight.
This is great then.
Yeah, so we're very excited. And we are taking photographs and doing, not live, but we are doing some video at the event. So I would check out our Instagram page in the next 24 to 48 hours, and you'll see some of the stuff from tonight's event on that. Next, tomorrow, we have the Live Well, Age Well Health Expo. It is from 10:30 to 1:30 at the Senior Center. We do have informational booths and activity demonstrations. We will have free lunch for the first 50 attendees, and then there'll also be lunch available for purchase. And that is one very well attended event. And so if you haven't been to it before, make sure to attend. I'm going to use a little punt on words here, but this event is positively full. Get it? Pause. But we can't wait to host our 4-legged friends next Saturday. We have 4 different 45-minute sessions with about 40 to 50 dogs in each session. And it's also the weekend before we open the pools to the general public for summer 2026. So it's kind of definitely an exciting time for people that are pet owners to do something a little bit different with their pet. It has been sold out for quite some time, and there is a September date that registration is not quite yet available for. But if you want to see something really fun, come out to Pooch Plunge on Saturday, May 16th between 9 and 12:45. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the work of our staff to make sure that summer is not only safe, but that it's a high quality experience for our community. And what's pictured in this picture is our lifeguard training classes that were taking place during the April school break. So that way students, or what are now our newest employees, could be trained in the appropriate safety measures, lifeguarding skills, and basic first aid, CPR, that sort of stuff, because they truly are first responders if we were to have an incident at our pools. And so that training was a full week, and our newest certified lifeguards will be working for us this summer, as well as those folks that will come back to work for us and be recertified. They don't have to go for the full class again, but recertified, be reminded of our training and our skills, and be reminded of, any changes of facilities, et cetera. But that's one aspect of our summer programming, is our aquatics and our, not just our rec swim, our lap swim, but also our swim lessons. But we also have returning staff and recruitments underway for our recreation leaders. And we have folks that bring continuity and leadership by spending summers and multiple summers with us. And then we have plenty of new people were their first job and their first opportunity to have some leadership experience. And we're hiring folks on a seasonal basis for that, and as well as our volunteer programs. So we do have rec leaders, we do have lifeguards, we have leaders in training, we have techie teens, as well as all of our year-round programs. But for summer, we have a lot going on. In service for us is one more time for us to bring everybody together and bring everybody on the same page and do city-specific policies and procedures and logistics. And that starts for us June 8th, and then it's in full swing until the kids go back to school in late August. With that being said, I shared with you at the last time, the recently released summer activity guide. Activities in the guide start June 1st. And city offices will be closed on May 25th in observance of Memorial Day. On that day, the pool and the sports center, as well as the golf course, will maintain their regular hours. But I also want to remind you that there are some other programmatic areas that people generally see that are super busy for us this time of year as well. And those are some of our picnic reservations. So people that are having family reunions or weddings, small celebrations, festivities, that bring folks together. So our picnic reservations are well underway. And so there's a lot going on this time of year in the Parks and Recreation Department. So with that being said, that concludes my staff report for tonight. And I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you so much. And any comment or any questions, please?
In the past, we used to be asked for these events for the commissioners to sign up for these. We'd like to continue to do that and be part of some of this and be supportive to the staff. Because last year, I remember Chair Kumarapan and I were part of a couple of these together, and it was really a very, very helpful as a great interaction between the staff and us, and also with the residents for us to see firsthand and also help support.
We have a lot that I'm going to be already planning for at the June agenda, and those are a bit more appropriate for that.
I just.
It's definitely consistent with what you approved at your last meeting for the work plan is to be visiting parks, pool and playgrounds,
Yeah.
as well as participating in events. So the ones that I'm bringing next month, I think are more appropriate for that. But thank you for reiterating your interest in being involved.
Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Any commissioner reports? No, okay, there's no other commissioner reports, then I think the next agenda item is the future agenda setting and upcoming draft agenda items. And I know that it's like we can have two commissioners bring in any new item which they want to bring it up, right? It's
Right,
only
so
two commissioners,
So I want to make note of a new item in your packet. You may have noticed something that looks a little bit like this. It had a calendar through the balance of the year. That's a new item. When you went through your handbook training, boy, that already seems like it was a couple months ago, but you guys recall that one of the new elements to the commissioner's handbook was for staff to prepare what is going to be coming up in at least the next 2 to 3 meetings. Parks and Rec is overachievers, and we've taken that a step further. But since this commission, in all seriousness, this commission has approved its work plan through the balance of the calendar year. Some of the others are in that cycle to still do that. We just thought it made sense to list them all through the balance of the calendar year. And as things either need to be adjusted or are added, because potentially there's, let's just say a project moves forward quicker than expected or vice versa, there's some sort of challenge related with something. As you will see, this will change as the year progresses, but it should start as a foundation for us for not only this section of the agenda, but to help guide our work and to make sure that we kind of stay focused on the goal of the commission.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I know I've probably been a pain in somebody's side for asking for that repeatedly.
So
Commissioner
can we say something on the future agenda setting?
Yeah, you can suggest, right, two commissioners up to.
Would love to ensure that for the next batch of future nonprofits asking for money to the city of Cupertino, that they are officially confirmed as official nonprofits, that they are in good standing. That would be one. So I'm trying to incorporate on the future agenda to make sure that when we try to grant any money to any 501c3 that they are in good standing. We need to find out because 95% sometimes are not. And so we're providing money to companies that nonprofit that should be, and it would be nice to have that kind of added security.
If I could jump in here, I think we talked about this during the community funding process and you guys were seemed interested in confirming that the state and federal 501c3 status was in good standing and that they were contributing all of the appropriate reimbursement requests and all that stuff through the city, which we were able to guarantee at that last meeting that in both those cases, that is the case, but it is not written in the document. And so we were gonna add that to the document, just to be clear for you guys for next time.
My apologies.
No, totally
Suffering
fine.
from brain damage.
I know, that was a very, very long meeting. But I think it was super clear and Jacinta confirmed for us after the meeting that she went through and they have to provide the receipts and the timeline and all the appropriate information and all of that was done accurately for the prior year's funding. And everybody had a current state and federal 501c3 for the groups that were being recommended for funding for this coming year. I did send Chair Kamar Rapan, excuse me so much, the agenda for the May 11th, which is this coming Monday agenda. And that's the first opportunity for the council to look at the budget for next year. And it does include the community funding recommendation from this commission. And he will be present for that meeting in case there are any questions of the process that we took and or the recommendations that were made. So that agenda is active and available if you want to go online and take a peek.
Excellent. Thank you. Before adjourning, I just want to make sure that the next June meeting, do we have a June meeting or July is the only one canceled, right?
We have a June meeting, not a July.
Not a July, okay, because. I
Correct.
wanna
That
make
would be
sure.
June 4th.
Awesome. Okay, our meeting is really coming to an end. Thank you. I want to thank everyone and especially Kurt for staying as chair from here on throughout, giving us a company. Appreciate it. And then our next Park and Recreation Commission meeting will be on Thursday, June 4th at 7 p.m. here in the Quinlan Community Center. And now I adjourn the meeting. 9:27.
Not bad.
Very nice.